Welcome to the Sports Hangover. I'm Michael Benatar, joined alongside J-Dog.
Mike, it's good to see you. This is a big weekend in the NFL. We have our Super Bowl preview on Sunday.
Oh, who's the preview? Super Bowl Pro? Is it Philly, Miami?
There you go. How exciting. Sunday Night Football is going to be our first glimpse at what the Super Bowl is going to look like.
Who are you, if you had to pick a side, what side are you betting on? If you're going to put it in the contest, where are you going to go with it?
It's only Thursday, so there's plenty of time to land on final picks. As you know, I heard last week you were doing 6 a.m. decisions last week on
Yeah,
Sunday.
I still might jump on. We're recording this like an hour before kickoff Thursday night. Might jump on Thursday night. Who knows? We'll see what
We're going to talk
happens.
about Thursday night. We're going to do a new segment called About Last Night, where I'm going to break down that game.
Okay.
Based on what happened in the past.
Jerry,
but I just want to mention, I am
Yeah.
on the Dolphins-Eagles game this week, and I am on the Dolphins side. Mike, it's just like a few weeks ago when the Dolphins went to Buffalo and they were an underdog, and it's like, what are we doing? Why are they an underdog? And they lost. It's not going to happen again. So I'm on the Dolphins. They shouldn't be an underdog, but they are, and people are not respecting their offense, and they're going to win the game outright.
I will say I did not realize last week that you were 0-5. Did you go 0-5 last week?
Why do you have to say it out loud?
I didn't realize. I thought you were doing good. You told me all your picks at a time. Like, yeah, that sounds like a good week. Like some of the games I wanted to be on. Didn't realize you went 0-5. You are now fighting to stay out of last place with two people that cannot gamble, and you're still there. And you're still below Phil, who missed an entire week of gambling.
I know where I fall. Thanks for letting me know. I was watching football with you last week, as we both know, and I only bet on one early game, the 10 o'clock. It was the Niners. Everyone was on the Niners. They didn't cover. So I was only 0-1 leaving your house. I wasn't in rage mode yet. And then I lost all my 115, 125 games. LLL across the board. It's like one of those things. I thought I was going to win all three at one point, and I just none of them hit. I was on the Cardinals. They didn't hit. I was on the Eagles. They lost outright. That was weird. It was a weird NFL Sunday, right? Because finally the top teams, even the Bills, who escaped against the Giants barely, like they should have lost that game.
Barely.
The Giants had two times they could have gotten in the end zone and didn't score at all. The Bills, the Niners, the Eagles all looked terrible. And it's like the top of the NFL was finally humbled. Like Vegas waits for those weeks to cash in, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, it was a weird week. I only did 2-3, so it wasn't like I did much better. So it's not like a great week, but I feel like now the league is like settling in. Like you're still weirdly only like 8 spots out of first, which isn't that bad. So it's not like you're at the bottom, but it's a hill to climb, which I didn't. I was looking at the stats, so I didn't realize.
Yeah, I'm not doing well, but I never came to you as a gambler. I am not a gambler.
Sure.
Maybe this is why I don't gamble. I just talk shit and say I'm better than you at gambling.
Yeah.
And clearly the scoreboard is not reflecting that so far, but there's still time.
So before we get into picks, I did want to say I saw the news article about Caleb Williams wanting piece of ownership in the NFL. Has the NFL ever done this? Have they ever given an active player, not even like pre-draft, like rookie? Have they ever given anybody active player ownership of a team?
No, never. Patrick Mahomes wants it too, and it's never happened, and it doesn't seem like it will happen anytime soon.
It almost seems like if they were gonna do it, it'd be like, well, you have to be here, and you can't get traded away. You're stuck on this team. I don't know what team would want somebody for, let's say, 15 years, and you come in and you're like, oh, you're a Baker Mayfield or you're a Tannehill, and you're like, we're stuck with this 15 years. Like that kind of sucks. I don't know how you would do that, or you just don't take payment. It's like, oh yeah, I'll just refuse a lot of my equity or whatever payment and take equity. Seems weird.
Like this is the same Caleb Williams who I said stock down on last week on the show, and then all of a sudden he barely beat like Arizona or something. No, they lost to Notre Dame the week before. They barely beat Arizona. Yeah. They lost to Notre Dame. Caleb Williams' stock is down. For him to have the balls to come out and say, not only am I the number 1 overall pick, and I might not come out if I don't like who's picking number 1, to come out and say, I want to be an owner, like let Patrick Mahomes be the first one to do that, because you're saying what franchise would want that? Of course the Chiefs would give Mahomes ownership if it was like allowed. Of course they want him for the next 15 years, right?
But it's kind of weird because like in a way, could you make it work? You're like, sure, we'll give you 1% ownership, and in exchange for that, your payment yearly will be reduced drastically.
Yeah.
for the next 10 years.
Just
Maybe it's
moving
better
money,
for the
right?
salary cap. Yeah, you're just moving money around, just pretending around because they're worth like what, billions of dollars? Like let's say $5 billion. Even 1%, that's a lot of money, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I
I think
I
for
think it'll
bona fide
be
superstars, it makes some sense, and maybe Mahomes should go down that route. For someone like Caleb Williams, who might be a bust, like there's been quarterbacks before that were supposed to
yeah.
be amazing that just weren't. We see it all the time. Baker Mayfield was a recent example. Is Bryce Young the next in that long line? We'll see. But nothing is guaranteed except when you prove it, and Mahomes has proven it more than pretty much anyone not named Tom Brady.
It could be a desperate, you know, a team or somebody that's out there. Maybe Indy's like, oh, we'll take you, or I mean, I guess they're fine with Anthony Richardson, but like, I do think if there's a desperate team and they're like, sure, we'll do it. I could see them doing it just to get the first pick and almost like, oh
But
yeah,
like,
this guy's
what's
not even a
so?
good,
Say a team is picking number one overall. Say the
yeah,
Bears because they look a
Bears,
prime candidate to do so.
yeah.
And they're going to take Caleb Williams at number one, and then Caleb says, "I'm not going to play for you unless you give me ownership." Is that okay? Because to me, that's not okay. Why does the guy who's coming
What
into the league have any leverage at all?
didn't that happen with Philip Rivers and Eli Manning? Didn't they like basically swap teams because Eli didn't want to play for Chargers or something? Right.
They
So
did,
like,
yes. It was like a draft day trade. Like they came out like
yeah,
Philip Rivers was drafted by the Giants, Eli drafted by the Chargers, and they got traded right after.
yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how it could work. It seems kind of crazy. I don't know who his publicist is or whoever's out there helping him in the
He's got
PR
a whole
world.
team, I think. There's a lot of them piping him up.
It's not working that out too good for you because it might scare away a lot of people, especially like if you're the Bears. Like, well, we're just going to trade it away. We'll go. We got our second pick overall. We'll just take somebody there. But
Maybe
who
this will
knows?
be proven to work or not work with Tom Brady, who just this week became a
Hmm.
10% owner in the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, he
I
did.
think he's paying like 1.7 some not 1.7
Billion?
billion. I don't think he has that much. I thought it was 1.7 something. Maybe that's what the
Oh,
franchise is worth, and then he's paying 10% of that. Maybe
I don't
that's what
think
it is.
Vegas. There's no way Vegas is only worth 1.7. Let me see this.
No?
Raiders value. I
Check
don't.
the
It's
Raiders
got to be
value. They
like
do have a new
billions,
stadium.
right?
But anyway, Tom Brady's officially
Six point
becoming
6.2 billion.
so maybe he is paying 1.7 of it. I don't
But
know if he
that,
has
yeah,
that,
I don't think that would be
but we'll
10%.
see.
But yeah,
But he's becoming it's not 10%, but he's becoming an owner, a part owner. And so maybe, the Raiders have a quarterback problem right now. So I'm thinking maybe he
oh, you
becomes
think
a
he's
part owner. Then it's like, hey, let me try this part out and be the owner player. That he was always supposed to do that with my team, right? My team, the Dolphins, were
yeah.
supposed to be that until Brian Flores had to open his mouth and get us in trouble.
I don't think Brady's coming out of retirement. I'm seeing him on yachts and just hanging out. He's
I saw him
he's
on
living
that
his
yacht
best
too.
life.
Was he laying by
Yeah,
himself on the front of that yacht? It kind of
yeah,
looked like a
just
lonely
sunbathing.
life. I don't know.
Listen, you got a $6 million yacht. You're just out there chilling. I mean, it sounds great.
Speaking of some quarterbacks, you played a game with me recently comparing
Yeah.
quarterbacks. I want to do it with you. I want to do a little bullshit or
Okay.
believe.
Okay.
Surprising things that you might not have thought coming into the year that might be true at this point. So bullshit or
Okay.
believe.
Hmm.
These guys were in the same draft, and that's why it's a relevant question. And I thought of this watching Monday Night Football, where Justin Herbert again failed to the
Yep.
Cowboys and Dak against a team that fails all the time. The Chargers fail at the most, and so Tua is better. You'd rather have
Mhm.
Tua as your quarterback than Justin Herbert. Bullshit or believe?
Yeah, I would believe that, right? As long as he stays healthy. I don't think you could have
Well, there's not
Herbert
many caveats.
seems Herbert seems to be like a reincarnation of Philip Rivers. Like somebody you're like, damn, this guy can sling the ball down the field. There's a lot of hype. You're like, oh yeah, he can definitely win the game. And it's just like little disappointments. Like he's good enough not to be like a Justin Fields or somebody or Bryce Young. You're like, yeah, like there's potential, but not enough to like keep you around. And it could be coaching, could be him, but he was not making throws at the end of that game, and he could have won the game, and he could not do it.
Something's
So I'd
not
take
right
Tua.
with Herbert and the
No,
Chargers and that whole situation. It's crazy. Like Tim Tebow has more playoff wins as a quarterback than Justin Herbert.
that's not good. Yeah, and I mean, it could be just be the Chargers are jinxed. Maybe there's a curse on them
Maybe
or
that's what it
something.
is. I mean, they hired the head coach, so it's their decision to hire that dummy. Here's another one for you. This one, again,
Yeah.
another surprise. Bullshit or believe. You'd rather have Baker Mayfield quarterbacking your team
Mm.
than Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I'd take Baker. I'd take Baker over Kirk. Kirk is on his way out. He's gonna get traded somewhere, or he's gonna stay there, and then he's just gonna go find another free agent team to go to, which It'll be another bad situation. He should have just been traded, probably end up in a better situation. I like Baker. I feel like maybe we've seen the ceiling, but I feel like he's getting adjusted. He's back. And I feel like he can be like maybe a Tannehill. He can be good enough to keep you for the next few years until you're looking for your next starting quarterback, which Tennessee thought they had, but they didn't find it in Malik.
Maybe they do have it in Malik. Didn't he come in that London game and do okay? Wasn't he leading them down the field a little bit?
Listen, we've seen it before with backups come in. Like Minshew, he's great when he comes in for like the third quarter and plays the rest of the game. I think the guys, when they start, it's a little harder because now the game plan has changed. So
you're right. When they come in, it's fun and exciting. When you prepare for them all week, it's less so. But it's just fascinating to me, like that question. Baker's on a 1-year, $6 million contract. Kirk Cousins is on a contract over $100 million. But you'd rather have Baker, and I think that's the right pick.
Yeah, I like Baker.
One more of those. You would have never thought this, but now, would you rather have Jared Goff, bullshit or believe, Jared Goff as your quarterback instead of Joe Burrow?
I don't know. They feel like they're almost the same in a weird way, but I have more doubts in Jared Goff. I don't know if it's his like mopey personality or that he's just been like pushed around different teams, which I guess it's really only one team because he came with the St. Louis Rams to LA, but it felt like a new team because they kind of rebranded.
Yeah.
I just said you've never like, I went to go see him at the highest scoring game, maybe not highest scoring game, but like
the best shootout. Game of the year against Patrick Mahomes, right?
Yeah, years ago at what is it called? Not the Rose Bowl, at
USC.
At USC, and it was a great game, but I don't think I would. I don't know. And we haven't seen enough of Joe Burrow, but he's been a little injured. I feel like I would just go to Joe Burrow. I feel like higher upside. I feel like Jared Goff is. Maybe Dan Campbell's really pulling the strings there.
I wanted you to say Goff. I was trying to get you to say Goff.
I know. I almost did.
And that's okay. That's okay. Because I'm a Burrow guy. I'm going on the Burrow route. I'm not betting against them like maybe you did last week and lost, that type of thing. I believe in Burrow. I believe in Chase.
By the way, Cincinnati should have lost last week. So
why? Geno Smith was asleep the whole game.
Geno Smith was in the end zone multiple times and just couldn't do it. I feel like Cincinnati's defense is not as good as we think. So
Geno was sleepy. He must have gone to an island for his bye. He came back. He wasn't on Cincinnati time at all. It was not good, Geno. But he'll be better at home this week. But that gives us a good segue. So I've been fading the Lions. I've been trying to take advantage of the hype around them. It's been doing this since last week or since last year with Hard Knocks, when I was down on the Lions, down on Dan Campbell. And I keep getting it wrong, so I need to stop doing that. But Lions at Ravens, as we start looking ahead to the slate this week, Mike, I kind of want to bet on the Lions. I'm kind of a believer now, and I kind of want to get on that line. I don't know why the Ravens are favorites in that game.
I don't like it. It's a scary line. A stat came out this year. Hold on. Let me see where my stats are here. I'm going to go to my other where is this page? All right. So the Lions are 70% against the spread this season. How scared does that make you to bet on them this week?
They're 70% against it. So they're winning 70% of the bets, right? 70% of their games.
Yes. And Jared Goff is like a very profitable guy to bet with because I feel like everybody just thinks he's mopey and not really good.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I'm not betting on this game. I thought Baltimore was the play on this and kind of fade what's going on there, but I'm staying away this week on the Lions.
I've never believed in Jared Goff at any point, whether it was LA with McVay or in Detroit. Last year's stats, when he was at home and they were on turf in the controlled environment, no rain or wind, they were great. Their offense was great. When he was on the road last year, they were bad. And so going down to Tampa last week, I was like, okay, we know how the Dolphins have an advantage at their stadium in Florida before it gets cold out. We know it's hot in Florida still in October. It's hot here in LA. So I thought, the Lions will struggle. Goff will struggle. They scored 20 points easily. They blew out the Bucs. It wasn't even close. And so I think I'm leaning toward getting on the Lions against the Ravens.
So even after last week, you go 0-5. Is your gut trying to would you go against your gut feeling this week to make it like uncomfortable? Or you should pick 5 games.
I'm changing my mind. Like I've faded the Lions every step of the way. It hasn't gotten me very far except for third. Third to last
But
in the league.
isn't it recency bias that last week you saw them blow out the Bucks and now you're like, oh, I got to bet on them? Isn't that
No,
a
because I bet on the Packers
scary?
against the Lions and the Lions covered. I keep doing this to myself. So I'm making changes. I'm learning from my mistakes. I'm failing forward, and I'm
Okay.
accepting that I don't know what I'm doing and trying to change it.
Okay. All right. Any other games you're looking at? I yesterday, if you guys didn't listen, we had somebody from the Super Contest come on, Josh. He came on, talked about all his picks, his strategy. We
Josh,
talked
that I know?
no. This is Josh Govett. He is a guy I went to Israel with,
Oh, wow.
and he's in the league and he's doing really good. He talked about his picks and his strategy. We talked 50 minutes on picks. I will
Wow.
say this. Everybody we're talking to is going on vibes. There is no data sheet. There is no pen, paper. Oh, what about this? What about this? It's literally like Josh said, I have football knowledge and I use this football knowledge to help me gamble. That is not what I want to hear. And I told him that
Yeah.
that's not what I want to hear. He's
But
going by vibe.
that's what you keep hearing. Our lawyer friend said he scouts the teams. The guy learned football 7 years ago. He's Hungarian and didn't know what it was prior, but he just scouts ball and he listens. Sorry, lawyer friend, you're listening. That was not a dig, but it's just facts,
It
facts
was.
only.
But
And it's like that's what I do. I watch ball, Mike. I'm not crunching the numbers. I'm not listening to all the betting propaganda that you are.
I just don't know how much longer that vibes could last this season.
Well,
Like,
clearly
okay,
it's not lasting for a lot of
we're,
people.
we're 6 weeks in, going on week 7. Vibes can't survive 18 weeks. So I just want to see when vibes do not no longer work because I don't like this vibe thing. I want to get somebody on here that's like, no, I have a fucking Excel sheet with data for the last 25 years on the NFL. That's what I want. But no
That
one.
person's not in our contest. That person is in the real contest. They didn't sign up for
Oh
our little year
God.
one trial run here. I appreciate that you are searching for like the edge in the league and it doesn't exist because there is
It
no
doesn't
edge
exist.
and just anything can happen on any
Vibes.
given Sunday. Literally one of the best movies
Yeah,
ever. That's how the NFL works. That's why we tune in. That's why we do the betting and the
I
fantasy
know.
and our teams because you just never know what's going to happen. And last Sunday
All
was another
vibes.
perfect example. The Bills, the Eagles, the Niners all sucked. And like those were 3 of the 4 championship teams last year. And so it's just you never know when it's going to happen, when it's going to turn, when an upstart like the Giants, we mentioned this last week, but they literally got better with Tyrod Taylor. It makes no
They did.
sense,
Yeah.
but they literally did. And that's just a thing. Things don't make sense all the time.
Do you wanna talk Thursday night before we get into a few more games, or do you want to end with Thursday?
Yeah, we can't preview Thursday. We can only talk about it in the past tense.
Well, I want to preview it because I might gamble, so I want to know your thoughts before. Because people are listening to this. Thursday's on, but we can discuss for like 2
Okay,
minutes.
you set it up. You give me the preview,
Okay.
and I'll give you the post game on it.
All right. We have Jacksonville visiting New Orleans. Trevor Lawrence is playing tonight. I thought he wasn't going to play. I was going to play New Orleans and fade him. Derek Carr is bad. Jacksonville has been on the road, has not taken a break since London. The line right now is what is New Orleans minus 2.5.
Yeah.
All my signs point to you play New Orleans here. They have a better defense. Lawrence, I keep wanting to call him Jennifer Lawrence instead of Trevor Lawrence.
Kind of looks like her with the hair.
Lawrence is injured, tired, and still playing. I don't know if they can compete. I want to play New Orleans here, but I'm too scared. What do you think?
I think both teams struggled a lot last night, Mike. I think people who downloaded this on Friday, both teams struggled a lot. Derek Carr's inability to throw the ball down the field was so apparent throughout the whole game. The only time they stretched the ball down the field was on pass interference. He cannot complete a long pass to Chris Olave. How many shots did he take last night? And he just couldn't get it done. And so you keep waiting for the Saints offense to pop. And maybe, Kamara had some nice runs. Maybe they had some nice 10, 15-yard plays. But the inability for a guy like Carr, who's paid a lot of money to come in there, to be their guy, to leave Las Vegas, be their guy in New Orleans, get Olave the ball downfield. It clearly isn't happening. It continues to not happen. I know he's injured. I know he's getting Toradol in his shoulder every week. It seemed to be more sore last night because it was only 4 days since his last Toradol shot instead of 7 days. So I'm not liking what I'm seeing from the Saints offense.
Okay.
The other side of that is the Jags were clearly low energy. You watched them not getting the ball properly. You watched them having tons of penalties last night, Mike, because they are so tired from London. You can tell what's going on. And you're so right about that. They were in London for 2 weeks. They came back to Jacksonville for 1 week. And now they're playing on a short week on the road. The NFL and Goodell hates the Jaguars franchise. I don't know what the Jags owner did to Goodell, but he hates them for putting them in this spot. It seems like a very dangerous game to bet based on both teams kind of sucking.
I will say I did place a bet early this morning. I don't know if it hit. Obviously, we'll know tomorrow, but Jeremy's predicting. But let me know if this will hit.
Yeah.
I bet money line New Orleans with the under. Same game parlay. New Orleans to score under 20.5 points. New Orleans to win the game. They win the game 17-13. That's in my mind. Now, I put money on it, but I'm too scared to put it in the contest because I feel like the money's easier to lose instead of my dignity in the league. So that's where I'm at.
I appreciate you saying that, Mike. I didn't see the end of the game, so I didn't see the final score. I missed the ending, so I can't say if you're right about that. But I like the idea of the under. When I was watching, there weren't many points scored because both teams were kind of sloppy on offense. Like I said, I fell asleep early, so I didn't see who won or covered. But really, not a game I would have bet on even ahead of time, just because I know both teams are bothering me a little bit, is what I would say.
Any other games eyeing up? Any games you like this week that I can talk you off of?
Yeah, Raiders Bears. It's the backup quarterback bowl. It's 2 quarterbacks we've never heard of. And that means the line is too big at 3.5. Like if you don't know either quarterback, if you can't pick them out of a lineup, the line must be less than 3.5. And because the Raiders are favored on the road by 3.5, I'm on the Bears side of this. They're at home and they have anonymous quarterback A versus anonymous quarterback B.
So Bears have the arm wrestling champ of the world playing as their quarterback. I think he played a little last week. I don't know if he's any good.
Which bothers me because, like, for example, Ryan Tannehill was a receiver his whole life before he played quarterback, like in college. And it shows, like, every time he drops back, it kind of looks like, oh, you just learned. The arm wrestling champion, maybe, like, he could have been throwing passes growing up, but instead he was just arm wrestling. That is a red flag for me.
So I wanted to play Bears. I'm probably going to stay away. Part of me this week, like today, I was like, oh, well, there's still a slight chance that Jimmy G could play. So if Jimmy G plays,
I thought he's out as of today.
Yeah, as of today, he's out. But this morning he wasn't. And I kept thinking, oh, well, that could be a play if Jimmy G plays.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think has the line even moved? Like, does the line move with how bad both quarterbacks are? Let me see where the line's at. Line right now, it's at 2.5. Like it literally moved a point
back to the Bears side,
which doesn't make sense. So yeah, I mean, you play the Bears here, but that's going to be a game you wish you'd never bet on because it's going to be the worst to watch the entire day. So
I agree with you. I don't like that one much at all. What about Chiefs Chargers? It should be a blowout. I feel like the Chiefs at home. I feel like that line should be like 7.5, and in our contest, it's only 5.5. Thoughts on that?
I think there's a little value on the Chiefs here, but I also kind of like to fade the idea of, Chargers had a disappointing game last week. They're going to get it right. Chiefs and Chargers weirdly play close games. Denver kept it close against the Chiefs. This is another division dog on the road in Kansas City. I think this is also a big weather game this week. Like I think a lot of weather is going to be affecting. So I'm going to wait until Saturday for weather reports to like make final decisions. My initial reaction was lean Chargers, but today I would say I'd probably take the Chiefs, but I'm undecided in the game. Yeah, I don't know which way they go because I don't know. I don't know what version of Herbert we're getting, and I don't know what version of the defense we're getting for Kansas City. Because I think sometimes it's weird. Like Denver put up, what was it, 10 to whatever, or 10 to 20, something like that.
Last Thursday,
10 to 21. Yeah, like that should have been a bigger game, but it
Chiefs still covered, even though it was late. They still covered on a short week against Russell Wilson. I think the Herbert and the Chargers now come in on a short week, coming off Monday Night Football. I just told you that Herbert is not getting it done. And again, I'm going against what I did last week. I was on the Chargers. I thought they beat the Cowboys because Dak is not that guy and Herbert should be better than Dak. Turns out he's really not. And so how much better is Mahomes than him? Probably at least 6 points more, probably.
So you think, all right, okay. I'm scared. A lot of these
I mean,
games
I'm not
scare me.
trying to talk you into anything, of course.
Oh no, don't worry. I know. I
Yeah.
know.
You wouldn't follow me down a dark road, tell you that.
This week I feel like I want to take ugly games. Like I want to take Indy against Cleveland or New England against the Buffalo Bills. Like that, those are the games. Like that's a division dog right there. Like New England at home, 8.5 points, playing Buffalo. These are it feels gross. It doesn't feel right. It seems like the right move though to play it close, especially if it's going to be raining. Will be a little chilly out there. I don't know what's going on in the north. I know weather is coming this weekend, but that's where I'm leaning right now. Is like I'll tell you the games I'm leaning. I like Indy. I like New England. I like Atlanta and I like Green Bay. Those are the games I'm leaning towards.
You
right
like
now.
Atlanta? That line at 2.5 has me leaning more on Bucks. It's not one of my 5, but I was thinking more on the Bucks side of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm worried about the Desmond Ritter thing playing on the road.
Well, he's not undefeated at home in his whole life anymore. So maybe now he'll be a better road player because he doesn't have his home record to hang his hat on.
I just feel like the Ritter and Bijan, they all have like things to show, and I don't know if the Bucks. I mean, this is another division game, right? Division dog on the road, and I like division dogs. I especially like home division dogs, and it's tough to play this week. So I don't know. Still undecided. Got to talk to a mutual friend. We'll decipher all the
Of course. Who's
knowledge.
New England playing? I thought they were off this week.
Buffalo. Isn't New England playing
That's
Buffalo?
Right. They are. It's just
Yeah.
They're so irrelevant to me. The Belichick thing is like, what are you still doing there? What are we doing? What is Mac Jones still doing there? It's so ugly. He's lost. Belichick has lost to McDaniels 3 times. He's 0-3. If any coach out there is 0-3 against McDaniels, it should be automatic retirement rule. You are not meant to go any further after that.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I still have a little shimmer of hope. It's 8.5. That's a lot of points. So I just want to see what happens. I got to take ugly games.
The defense does play well. The Patriots defense tends to play well. So maybe it keeps you, to a 7-point game is all you can really hope for. Because if Josh Allen's on, and we've seen this year, when Josh is on, no one's really stopping them. When Josh is off, anyone can beat them, like the Jets in week 1.
Those are all the games. I don't have much. I feel like the only other game that I really want to play, but I feel like I shouldn't, is play Seattle at -7.5. But I just feel like the line is way too big. I felt like there was a lot more hope. If Geno is awake, like you said, he was not awake last week. We watched it. It was a miserable game. We had our 8 box up going. We had 9 boxes, 9 screens going at once, watching all the games. It was exhausting. I was really tired after watching 9 games because you're shifting your head back and forth.
It's a lot. It's a lot going on. I'm trying to watch the Dolphins and Red Zone and the Browns. Niners was pissing us off. The Niners came out of that game. Not only did they lose, like all their stars are hurt. McCaffrey and Debo and Trent Williams. And you know what else is hurt is perception of Brock Purdy, who now looks like when you don't have your fancy toys. He looks like a PJ.
I still think he's good. I still think he's good. I don't know if I'd play him this week, but I still like him. Monday Night Football, big game. Minnesota, I feel like they're trading away people, so I don't know if they're actually going to.
It's Kirk's last chance, honestly. If Kirk plays bad in that game, if they lose ugly, I think that's his last game on the Vikings. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
That's all I got. I got nothing else. Those are kind of the picks for the week.
Good show, Mike. Enjoy your big weekend. You're in Big Bear. There's a lot going on this weekend. And then we have NFL Sunday. We're traveling. We're like commuting upstate for NFL Sunday this week.
Yeah. We're going deep valley for some football this weekend.
Yeah.
Check out thesportsangover.com. Swag's up there. And follow us on our TikTok. We're going to start putting some clips up there, hopefully soon. And I think we're at the Sports Hangover podcast. Or the Sports Hangover. Just search Sports Hangover.
Search us.
I'm not even sure what the handle is, but search us on there. Follow us.
Cool.
All right. Good show. See you.
Bye.